Hi, I'm Deana.
And I'm Suzanne, and thank you so much for tuning in to the Rise and Shine, It's Hypno Time podcast.
With Deana and Suzanne.
That's us.
The purpose of this podcast is to help you along your healing journey, to become the very best version of you that you can be, and to create the life of your dreams. We want to give you the tools you need to succeed through personal stories, guided meditations, hypnosis, NLP, and self-hypnosis techniques, as well as interviews with experts in a variety of healing modalities, from energy workers and spiritual healers to chiropractors, acupuncturists, holistic medicine, and much, much more.
Yes, and we also want this podcast to be a place where people can come together, share stories, and be reminded that you're not alone. In fact, the healing journey is a lifelong journey, and we are just so thankful that you're choosing us to be a part of your journey and that we have you to be a part of ours as well. And with that being said, let's start the show.
I'm ready when you are.
Hi everyone, we're so excited because today we've got a wonderful guest coming on the show.
Her name's Carrie East, and she's all the way from Oregon.
Let's jump into it.
How long have you been doing this kind of work, Carrie? And what was the catalyst that actually brought you to become a hypnotist?
Yeah, tell us a bit about yourself.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. First of all, thank you for hosting me. I really appreciate it. And this is such fun. So I was certified in 2013. So I'm going into my 9th year. And, I had a background in social work. That's my education. So this for me was a natural fit. But the real catalyst of what launched me into getting serious about this, beyond the I think we all have a natural curiosity about hypnosis. It's kind of mystical. But in 2011, I was diagnosed with cancer. And
I didn't know that.
Yes. I had breast cancer, and I went through a year of treatments. I was very ill. The chemo actually almost did me in. It was the cure that almost killed me. I really had a rough time of it. And I went through chemo and radiation. And at the end, I was left with real chronic pain and excessive fear about the future of my health and my daughter's futures. Insomnia, so many issues that I'd never dealt with before. And I wanted to find a solution that would not result in me having to take more medications.
Yeah.
I was so over chemicals. And
now you had radiation and chemotherapy?
Yes. So I decided, well, maybe it's time to really investigate and look into hypnosis. And so I did, and I tried it. And I had wonderful results with the pain management, the stress management, some weight loss from all that puffiness of steroids and all that.
The inflammation.
And the inflammation. And just getting myself into a more positive mindset.
Right, frame of mind.
Finding that hope, to go forward. My whole outlook on life changed, and developing that attitude of gratitude. Hypnosis just really, really did it for me. And so I decided I wanted to learn how to do this. And, when you come through a serious illness and you come close to losing your life, I think most people find that gratitude and getting a second chance, and you kind of want to pay it forward. And that's 100%. What I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. And so I said, you know what, I'm going to learn how to do this so I can help others.
Well, it's such a fascinating tool, too. Most people just do not realize that this doesn't have anything to do with mind control or anything else. It's just a deeper level of changing how you feel or your viewpoint or your perspective or, literally feeling different, isn't it?
Oh, you're so right. and I think as you really begin to learn how much more in control you are with hypnosis, that mystery kind of dissolves away. And what you realize is that the insights you gain, they were there all along. You just helped to kind of bring them to the surface and uncover it. So,
and it's amazing too, when you figure that stuff out, you want to share it with everyone. Like that's my beginner story too. Like I realized how much this could help me and I wanted to share it with everyone.
I think also, just like you said, Carrie, I'd like to call you Carrie, but I'll call you Caroline if you'd like, whatever you prefer.
No, please call me Carrie.
Is the fact that you actually recognize that we are in charge of our bodies and our mind. We can manage our thoughts and we can change how we feel about something. And that's a big accomplishment that most people struggle with. That's why they come see us, isn't it?
It is. And it's true. And you have to go into it with a very open mind. Mm-hmm. And, that's what it's all about. I always tell my clients, if you come in thinking you're going to relax in the recliner and I'm going to do the work, you're not going to get the outcome you're looking for.
Yeah, you need to participate.
Mm-hmm. Right.
100%
it's really
participation. Yeah.
You have to allow it. Yep.
Well, since we're speaking about hypnosis, can you tell us if you have a specialty in your practice?
Oh, thank you for asking. I do. Trauma is my specialty. I see so many, and I'm sure you two are probably noticing the same, especially since COVID. You do have a little bit more freedom in your life in Florida, but here, we have these mask mandates and kids have been isolated in their homes. I've seen more teenagers. It's very sad to see the stress levels escalating in younger and younger populations. It's tragic, really. And of course, trauma takes its form in many ways. It can come from many different things. And, some people are having recurring nightmares. Some people are feeling depressed because they're isolated. So we know trauma is not about the incident. It's about how you process what's going on.
Right.
And it's interesting that you bring up children too, because something like this would definitely make younger people feel like they have to grow up faster,
Well,
right.
I think also, and what we're seeing here, and that's why I think Dr. Will, which is where we met, Dr. Will Horton in our Zoom classes, we did a PTSD and we did a practitioner, NLP practitioner, NLP master, NLP trainer together. So we've gotten to know each other before we ran into each other in Las Vegas, huh? But I think one of the common things that is happening that you're describing is that a lot of children, first of all, are growing up wearing masks. They don't know how to look eye to eye, read or understand facial expressions, social cues. They're isolated. Everybody's looking down at their screens. And there's a lot less connection, a lot less even, they don't even know what they're missing. And I
don't know differently.
Can you maybe expand a little bit on what you think when you have maybe younger people coming into your office to work through some trauma specifically related to COVID? Do you notice any reoccurring themes or any nuggets of wisdom that you've passed on that seem to work well for them?
Oh, that's a great question. Thank you so much. Especially with the younger folks, and Deana, to kind of piggyback on what you were saying with kids not knowing how to recognize social cues, one of the techniques that I've found to be extremely helpful is bringing in, and this is relatively new in our field, in the field of psychology and social work, is polyvagal theory. And learning to recognize and connect what's going on with the brain to the body, and recognizing that the feelings you're feeling are being generated by what your subconscious mind is picking up on, what's going on around you. And so
What is, now tell the viewers what the definition of polyvagal is.
Polyvagal theory really is the definition of how your nervous system functions. What most folks don't realize is there's a nerve that runs from the base of our neck or the brain stem all the way down through the body. And it actually has little fingers that go out and connect to the vital organs. Right. And that is why when you worry about something, you may feel it in your gut. There are reasons,
or your shoulders,
or your shoulders, or your neck tenses up. That vagus nerve, and vagus, if you want a little piece of trivia here, is the Latin word for wanderer, because that nerve wanders through the length of the body.
Interesting. Good insight.
Yeah, I didn't know.
Yeah. So when you start to understand and interpret what happens in the brain travels all the way down through us, and you end up with a stomach ache or irritable bowel syndrome, you then begin to figure out, and I have worked with teenagers on this, that they can take control of their body, that literally what they're thinking up here, if they can bring themselves to a point of ease,
letting go. Yeah. Being able to let go and understand what they do and do not have control over.
Right. And, when we're trained as hypnotists, those of us who've been around a while and started before this theory really came to light, we were taught, you may remember, that, when we're inducing a client into that relaxing trance stage, that we teach them to take the deep breaths.
Right.
But we didn't know why. I know I was just taught, do this. This will be relaxing. But the reason is because when you take those deep breaths, exactly right. It stimulates that vagus nerve. And that the process of what we call neuroception, which is the subconscious mind scanning for danger, right? And it's doing that even when we're not aware of it, sends that message that all is well, we're safe, we can co-regulate, we can connect.
Awesome information.
Yes, that was well said.
So hypnosis is helping most people manage how they feel, manage situations that seem to be stressing them out, manage their thoughts, manage how they allow other people to affect them. There's just so much management that goes on, and understanding the importance of connection. But, that breathing technique, I actually learned that when I first learned hypnosis. That was one of the things we learned was, have them do that breathing technique, pull it all the way to the bottom of your stomach like you're blowing up a balloon. And after you've done that 4 or 5 times, it stimulates that vagus nerve. So I have everybody in my office practice it before they even get into the recliner, just because I'm teaching them the first step in self-hypnosis. So that allows them to actually feel it as they're just sitting in the chair talking to me, because I have them close their eyes and practice it for 3 or 4 breaths. And then I say, you should feel a calming effect. And they're like, oh yeah.
Exactly. It will never let you down. It works every single time. There's a reason for that. So
that's cool. Yeah.
So note to the listeners, take some deep breaths. It truly does more than you think.
Right. So why don't you give them the actual exercise, Carrie, of how you are able to get yourself in a relaxed state?
Okay. I'll always throw in, if you have a favorite spot, whether it's a beach or I'm looking at that scene behind you and wishing I were there. Sunset is my favorite time of day. That has a very special meaning to me. But whatever it is for you, bring yourself there. Put yourself there now. Sunset, sunrise, that quiet time when you can just let go and relax and take that nice, long, slow, very purposeful breath. So breathe in, maybe to the count of 4, just allowing yourself to enjoy that air coming in, that relaxing feeling. And when you get to the top of that breath, just go ahead and hang on to it for a moment and feel the calm. And then as you need to, go ahead and begin to release that breath, breathing out through your mouth. As you're breathing in, of course, we're always thinking about positivity and self-confidence and all the goodness that's coming your way. And we sit and we think about that for a moment. And then as you exhale, letting go, detoxifying, breathing out the worries, the tensions, the toxins, anything you've collected that you no longer have a use for, that you don't need to deal with. Blow that out and then recognize, be aware of how good it feels. Mm-hmm. At the end of that breath, do it again, because you can do this as many times as you like.
That was
but
wonderful.
You can't do it while you're driving.
Yes.
No. Anybody who's driving, operating machinery, or has to be responsible for something or someone else, don't ever try.
Pause this and press play later. But I will say that was absolutely wonderful. And I already feel so much more relaxed. And it's crazy what a little visualization and deep breathing can do. Am I right?
Absolutely. Yeah. So, with all of the things that you're doing, can you tell us a little bit about your passions outside of the office and in your personal life?
Oh my goodness. Well, those who know me know what a nut I am for animals. I dogs, horse, and we've had horses. We don't now, unfortunately, right now we're horseless, but both our horses have passed away, but we have 4 dogs, and I do love rescue. I've done animal assisted therapy.
Oh, wow.
Dogs like to have jobs just like people do.
I believe it.
Yes, I love interacting with people, but I also love interacting and communicating with animals.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you're the dog whisperer, huh?
I try. I don't know. But, I love studying animal behavior, because it's not all that. My kids would probably kill me if they heard this right now. Raising puppies and dogs is not all that different than raising children if you want a well-behaved puppy.
You're right. That's what Caesar says. You need to take control.
That's right.
And stay calm.
The pack. Yeah. But no, I love animals, and
they're intuitive.
They are.
Mm-hmm.
They are. And my mom always used to say, you never should trust any person that your dog doesn't like.
100%.
Or if they say
I've heard that before. Yeah.
Yes.
I had 7 kids, so I had too many animals to have pets. I told my kids that. I said, I have enough animals to feed. If you take responsibility, you can do it. But I was a single mom too, so I didn't need extra mouths. But I love animals.
Oh yeah.
I'm a cat lady myself.
I almost had 7 dogs to replace the kids when the kids left. We got up to 5 and we said, no, enough. But
so you have 5 children.
I do. Well, if you count my husband, I had 6.
I understand that completely. So tell me, what are the sibling, or what are the children in order? Male, female?
Well, I only have 2 humans.
I got it.
Yes. My older daughter is about to turn 40, and my younger daughter will be 35 this year. So they're grown, living their own lives and happy, which is what every parent wants to see, I think.
Yes.
And they're beautiful people in their own right. I'm so proud of them.
Yeah, the older I get, the more that's almost the only thing that matters is I just, want my kids to be okay. I want them to be able to manage their life and the emotions and the feelings that they have. I want them to learn from their experiences. It's really important. I don't expect perfection because I'm far from it. But I always told them, as long as you're learning, as long as you're progressing, you're doing what you're supposed to do on this earth. So, feel good about that.
Exactly. And, my father used to instill this in me all the time. He was the most wonderful man, but he used to say, don't worry about what other people tell you it takes or what you have to do to be successful. He said, you be who you are. And if you leave this earth a better place than when you came here, you are a huge success.
Great words of wisdom. Yeah.
And I thought he was not a materialistic person. And yet, he had a great regard for everyone at every level. And I tell a little bit of his story on the website, the story behind the name of my website, which I know you're going to talk about later. But he was just that man who was so authentic and so real and such a thinker. And I'm so grateful that he raised me to keep my feet on the ground and just do what I could to make this world a better place.
That's awesome. Our dads are probably hanging out together right now.
I'll bet they are. Because I'll bet you had a dad just like that.
He was, you sound like you're describing him. He was very service oriented too, though, and very non-judgmental.
Yes. Yes.
And I think that note about authenticity is so important too, because that's honestly hard to find. I think people are so afraid sometimes to show up as their true authentic self because they're afraid of the judgment or not fitting in or whatever it may be. So I think those are wise words to live by.
Yeah, that kind of takes us back to the beginning. The kids do not understand that everybody doesn't smile every day and everybody isn't, perfect. Their lives aren't perfect, and being able to share all of your experiences and understand and read people, and have compassion and everything is something they're not learning now. They think that everybody's life is perfect and nobody
social media.
Yeah. Cause I got 14 grandkids too. So I know what they're going through now. Yeah. Yeah.
Holy cow. I can't even imagine, but you're so right. Both of you bring up such good points because, we have to realize that we're very lucky that we have the parents we have. And a lot of the people that come to see me haven't had that kind of love. And so I am really grateful that I at least can give it unconditionally because I know what it's like to
receive it.
Yeah, that's special.
And so that's where it becomes really important that what you know and who you are. And I tell this to my clients, whoever you are now, you are that person because you're the sum total of all the experiences you've had. And you're here because you want to be better. And you're here because you've got so much to give. So let that light shine.
Right. We all have a purpose. We all have a purpose.
Yeah, we do.
We need to understand the value of that. We've been given this spirit and this body and this life for a purpose and a reason.
Yep.
And it does seem that you do have so much wisdom and life experience. And I was wondering if maybe you could elaborate a little bit on maybe how you've changed and adapted over the years and maybe some lessons you've learned along the way, or, what do you enjoy doing today that maybe you didn't in years past?
Oh, Suzanne. Well, first of all, I want to say thank you for being so kind and staying life experience, because that's so much nicer than, oh, you're so old.
No.
She respects me all the time for being her elder.
Got a few miles under my belt, but I'm still going strong.
Hey, I just read a thing yesterday. It's funny that you say that. I just read a thing yesterday that said the years between 60 and 70, you are at your top performance. That people who received Nobel Prizes and stuff was, they named them presidents and stuff like that, was around 62 years old. 70 to 80 is the second most productive, and then 50 to 60 is the third. So actually in your 60s, most people accomplish more, they perform more, they have more wisdom, they've learned something, and they're actually more productive. A lot of success happens between 60 and 70. So we're just hitting it. We're just hitting it now, Carrie.
Oh, let's go, girl.
Let's go, girls.
I know. I got Suzanne here pushing me. I know I'm doing more right now than I have in several years.
Lots to look forward to.
You want to push me too, Suzanne? I'm inviting you. Push me too.
All right. Like, you heard it here.
So I didn't mean to interrupt with that question.
No,
though,
that's interesting.
But share some of your life experiences with us here.
Thank you. Well, it's funny. Some of the things that I used to never consider doing, and I adore now. One is gardening.
Fun.
Why? I don't know. My mother was an avid gardener, and she had such a green thumb. She could grow anything. She used to try and get me to come out into the garden with her and garden, and I had zero interest. I'd rather be rolling in the dirt with a dog or a horse. But I can't get up off the ground anymore, so I don't roll in the dirt.
You feel like a turtle on your back?
I can think, but I can't roll.
That's what I look like trying to get out of bed at night, like a turtle.
That's funny. Well, gardening is so grounding.
Oh, it's so grounding, and I get such a feeling of accomplishment, like when I pull a tomato off the vine, or we grew artichokes one summer and they were so delicious. And every year we change our garden over. And so that's really fun. My dad taught me to sail. We had a little dinghy, a little 11-foot sailboat. And so I have just a giant love of the water. What are some of the other things I used to do? Oh, well, my mom was a magnificent cook. She came from France. Her mother also was a French cook. So I had really no interest in cooking because she did it all and it was great. Why should I learn? That's awesome. Now she's gone. But so I enjoy cooking. I'm enjoying learning.
I love that.
About cooking and becoming more gourmet and, less meatloaf and more, Chateaubriand.
Flavors. Yeah. Flavors.
Sure.
It's interesting because just like the gardening, it is sustaining the most basic things in life, growing something, seeing the growth of it and experiencing the bloom and experience the flavors or the smells. And same with cooking. I think that's part of wisdom and getting older is learning the value of the most simplistic pleasures and needs. We need to eat, we need to breathe air, we need to experience things. And so I think it's the simple pleasures that you start to focus on a little bit more and connect to the basis of, growing plants is about life, creating life, and you get to watch it.
I love that.
Oh, you're so articulate, Deana.
Ooh, I'm buying you lunch when I see you in Las Vegas.
I might hold you to that.
I'm going to offer you a big buffet every day. All the food you can eat.
Side note, we're all going to be attending a conference together in July. So that's what we're talking about. Yeah. But I do want to mention something about cooking too, because for me, I find that to be a wonderful creative outlet. When I don't feel like when I don't feel like I have time to express myself like creatively or get that energetics out, I have to cook, I have to eat. So that's kind of like a really practical way to do both, like trying new recipes or, making it presentable or trying new flavors and all that.
So do y'all watch the cooking shows too? I love to watch.
I love cooking shows.
Sometimes I do, but I've always cooked. My father, my relatives are from France too, so we'll have to talk about that sometime. We might end up being cousins too.
Oh my gosh, you guys, this is such a wonderful story because we're also going to have our good friend Michelle on the show.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, and Michelle and Carrie, I'll let her tell this story because it is just so amazing and cool. But they kind of, met and connected like through Dr. Will's class first, right?
Right, the Zoom class.
And then the conference, and their conversations led them to realize that they were actually closer than they thought, more than
just friends.
Yeah.
So why don't you share that story with because it really shows how small the world is.
It's amazing.
And how connected we all are.
That story is so cool. This is like one of my favorites.
Well, we really couldn't believe it because I don't know, somehow I had mentioned we were just talking about our backgrounds, and I mentioned that my father came from Eastern Europe, and she said, "Oh, I have a cousin also who was a relative, I think related to one of her grandparents." So she said, "Yeah, he came from Russia, and his last name was Yanushevsky." And I said, "Wait, what did you say? Could you spell? How do you spell that?" And she told me, and she said, "But he shortened it to the last name is Janis, Janis." And I said, "Oh no, I have a cousin my cousin's name is Yanushevsky, shortened to Janis."
Wow,
we couldn't believe it. And because she's in Pennsylvania, and all of my family's in New York.
I got you.
So yeah, we're all in the same geographical area. We really truly believe, I'm positive that we are connected through that line.
That's so amazing.
It really is a small world, and it brought us that much closer.
That is neat, isn't it?
No, that story gives me goosebumps.
Because I've always participated in genealogy and finding out my ancestry. Yeah. So that's really neat that you were able to experience that. Yeah.
And it's so cool how you guys like just clicked off the bat and then come to find out like you guys are probably related. Like, so cool.
My long lost cousin, sister, I'm filling in the blanks because I always wanted a sister too.
Oh, yeah. I love that.
To me too. But
talking about sisters, what is your family makeup? Do you have siblings? How large was your family growing up?
My family was very, very small. Actually, I have an older brother. He's 5 years older than me. He lives in North Carolina. He's a retired attorney. He moved down from DC. He had been living in the Washington, DC area. And now he's in the Chapel Hill, North Carolina.
I gotcha.
The Research Triangle, as it's known, Raleigh, Chapel Hill, and Durham. And he loves it down there. He's been working me to try and come out. I'd love to come out and visit and then come on down to Florida and visit.
Yeah, we were waiting for that.
I think North Carolina is about 10 hours away from where we live.
Oh, is that all?
Maybe even less.
Yeah.
Maybe 8. Not sure, but it's a day's drive. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not bad at all. I'm packing after we're done here.
I love it.
You might as well come see the sunrise and the sunset.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, stupendous. Yes. So that's it. It's just he and I.
Well, why don't you tell us the story behind changing your name? I know that when I met you, it was Carrie East Hypnosis, and we learned about that on Zoom. And then when we met you in Las Vegas for the Hypno Thoughts Live, it was Carrie East Hypnosis. So have you made a change, and why?
I have made a change. I had been thinking about it for a while. I actually, I'd worked for quite a few years since 2013. And then, in caring for my father for 13 years, I realized towards the end of his days that they were numbered. And I wanted really to just stop working. I closed my office. I closed my practice for almost 18 months to spend my time with him. And I'm so glad I did that. There are no regrets about that. They were the best days, even though he had dementia and, he wasn't in many ways not the same man that raised me.
Right.
And in many other ways, still that same man. You could still see that soul.
Yeah.
That soul is
that
always
connection.
there for those, who are struggling with Alzheimer's and dementia with loved ones. That soul is in there. And I'm so glad I stopped. So I spent my time with him. And in 2020, he passed. And
so did my father. What month did? Yeah,
end of April.
My father passed March 11th, and it was sudden. We got right before everything was closed down. We were able to do the funeral and everything, but it was sudden. He was playing golf that day, and he had this high score, and he's bragging about it. And all of a sudden, he started blinking, and he had a massive hemorrhagic stroke. So it was something that. Yeah, it was a surprise, but I mean, that's interesting because it was about the same time too. I told you they were hanging out.
Now I know they are. Yeah. I don't know. Did your dad play pool? My father used to love a good.
No, he played golf, but he was a sportsman. He mountain biked, played basketball, he bowled, he water skied, he snow skied, everything. My dad was very, very active.
Yeah.
And there's something I would like to bring up while we're on this topic, because I think especially after the pandemic and everything that's going on now, there's just a lot of people in situations where they need to take care of maybe their elderly parents or friends or some loved ones, even children, just having to take care of other people during this time. And I was wondering if maybe with everything you went through, if you have some advice for people who are going along a similar journey right now.
I do. And
put your hands in the air and enjoy the ride.
You're not alone. Let me say, you are not alone. And thank goodness I had people to tell me that as I was going through it. There are many phases when you're dealing with dementia or Alzheimer's that you as the caregiver will experience along with the person you're caring for. And it's normal to feel angry. It's normal to cry and want to protest and feel those feelings of anger and anguish.
Isolation too, I'm probably, because you're dealing with it a lot alone.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And it was interesting because when we first brought my father out here, he was living on the East Coast. And when my mother died, we brought him out so I could care for him. And I had to take him with me everywhere that I went because I couldn't leave him alone. Mm-hmm. So you do become isolated because my friends, people don't mean to be mean, but they don't invite you like they used to.
Right.
They know you have a lot going on.
A lot of times it's hard for people to handle, know what to say, what to do, or even to associate with somebody it's maybe like having a special needs child or something like that. It's something that your focus is on and they're not sure what to say or do, or they don't feel comfortable, or they want to be independent from that just because they've never had to experience it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, exactly right. And so know that your support is going to come from support groups, people that you meet in the same situation. Seek that, look for that. But the most important thing I would say is take the time to care for yourself. Absolutely. It's so important. You hear it. It sounds cliche, the self-care, but it's like they say when you get on an airplane and, the hostesses say, should we lose altitude and the pressure drops, you put your oxygen mask on you first. You can't help anyone else if you're not okay.
Right.
And the scariest experience I had was that in the midst of my caring for Dad, I was diagnosed with cancer.
Oh, goodness.
And he had no memory. So every day, I used to go over and visit every day and spend time with him when I was going through chemo. And my white blood count would drop and I couldn't be around anyone because of immunity issues. He couldn't remember why I stopped coming to see him.
Wow.
And so I'd have to call him every day and tell him what was going on. But the thing was, I was frightened because what if I died?
Who was going to care for him? Right.
Who was going to care for him? So it wasn't an option. I just made up my mind right then and there. I can't die. That's it.
Well, I'm glad you didn't.
And that's on the power of your mind.
That is exactly my point. No, but you have to, you just have to be kind to yourself. You have to rest. You have to take care of yourself. And it means sometimes delegating certain tasks to others. If people offer to help, let them. So many times it's hard to accept help.
Right.
Yep.
But
it also means, I think, setting boundaries is really important when you have a lot of responsibilities. You can't do it all, and that'll wear you out. And I think it also means that I don't know what I was going to say, so keep talking. I had something very important I wanted to say.
It'll come back to you.
Yeah. Please interrupt me when it comes back. Set boundaries and learn to say no and learn to ask for help. You do that, and it takes a huge weight. Take breaks. Take one day. Who told me this, and I'm forever grateful to her, is my rabbi. She said to me, Carrie, why are you so worried if you have to miss a day? He can't remember 10 minutes after you left when you were visiting him that you were there.
Right. So he's not going to know. Yeah.
He's not going to know. Just call and check in, but give yourself the opportunity to take a nap or take yourself to the movies, one afternoon and take a break.
Right. I think that what I was feeling from what you were saying earlier with that is the self-love and appreciation and value and worth is so important, to be able to look at yourself every day and recognize that you are a survivor. You have made it this far. You're valuable. Everything changes. Everything in this life is temporary. Nobody's staying. So, get everything that you can out of it, but practice the same type of love, self-love and self-forgiveness and compassion for yourself as you would anybody else or your very best friend.
Right. And as you probably know, with people who do suffer from Alzheimer's and dementia, they, especially in the earlier stages, they come into these moments of lucidity. They don't last very long, but they come. And when my father would have one, he would say to me, I want you to be happy. Go home. I know you're caring for me. And I would break down in tears because it told me he always said thank you. He always appreciated. He knew. And I would say this to others too, just make sure that you do what you have to do so that you have no regrets when the time to say goodbye comes. And I can honestly say that I have no regrets. But those moments of lucidity when he would say, I want you to be happy. I want you to be okay. I don't want to be the reason you get sick. So know that
as a parent, unless you're narcissistic or, sociopath, as a parent, that the value of knowing that your children are safe and okay and happy is one of the things that becomes priority the older you get.
You're not being selfish. They would want that for you. They want you to take care of yourself. So please do it.
So now, does that lead into why you changed the name? You changed the name from Carrie East Hypnosis. What did you change it to?
Yeah, I changed it to Strive, Neuro-Linguistic Hypnosis. And the reason for the neuro-linguistic hypnosis is because, as you both know, as accomplished hypnotists, that neuro-linguistic programming, which sets that structure, that foundation for us to make change, along with the trance and the added suggestibility that one gains through hypnosis, that relaxation, it really works together as a fusion.
It does,
And so I wanted to name the practice so that people knew it's not just smoke and mirrors, it's not hypnosis, it's not a game, but that we're really doing some good work here.
Right.
And Strive is, about making an effort to make change, right?
Striving for something better. Yeah.
But Strive is also the name of the minesweeper on which my father, the USS Strive,
wow,
was in the Navy.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I'm carrying on
Connection.
His legacy.
Yeah,
yes. That's a wonderful way to honor him,
honoring his memory.
Wow,
and that's what I wanted to do. Yeah,
that's really special and really meaningful. And he sounds like such a wonderful guy, and I love that you're able to carry on his legacy in such an impactful way.
Thank you for letting me tell the story. Thank you.
Yeah, that's so sweet. Go ahead and tell us about your repeat your business, repeat your email address.
How can people get a hold of you?
Thank you. The business is Strive Neuro-Linguistic Hypnosis. So it's Carrie East. That's me. And my phone number is 503-789-0655. The website is StriveNLH, as in neuro-linguistic-hypnosis.com. And email is StriveNLH@gmail.com.
Perfect. And we'll be sure to put that in the show notes for you guys. And something else that we love to do with every person we have on the show is we love to do some little fast, fun facts. So our listeners can get to know you on a little different, better, more personal level.
Playful level. Yeah. And we're going to ask you real quick. So you have to tell us the first thing that comes to mind.
All right. You ready?
Hot seat. Yep.
So are you an early bird or a night owl?
Night owl.
What's your zodiac sign?
Gemini.
Ooh, I love Geminis. What is the one song that can get you hyped up or excited no matter when or where?
Oh. I have to give you a genre. It's not one song, but 90s country.
I love it. I'll take it.
Jackson, come on, Garth.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah. That's a whole mood.
There we go. Maybe we should see if we could see one of those guys when we're in Las Vegas.
Oh man, I'd love it.
Don't threaten me with a good time.
So what lights you up or really excites you and gets you going right now in your life?
Right now, it's the freedom of knowing my kids are grown. I don't have to prove anything to anybody. I'm in charge of my life. I get to live it. I am truly free.
I love it.
It's really empowering. It's liberating.
So you've reached what everybody's searching for when they come to see us.
Yeah.
The Nirvana of your work, right? Huh?
There you go.
Well, that's why I love doing what I do, because I love people.
Yeah, you kind of need to do that in this type of work. You need to care about people, have some experience in compassion and empathy. Yeah, being able to connect, be able to problem solve, be able to build a rapport, all of those things. And then with the neuro-linguistic programming, I love it too. I'm a practitioner as well. I don't know if you knew this, but when I got certified in hypnosis, NGH certification for hypnosis, I also became certified with Dr. Will Horton in Marlborough. I took his class pre-class before, the conference up there. So I became an NLP practitioner with him. Oh. Yeah. So that's how I knew him. And so I was glad to reconnect, and it was lovely meeting all you guys too.
Yeah.
Oh, it's been fun. But, I have to say, Dr. Will's ears are probably ringing.
Yeah, shout out Dr.
His community, right? His community of people, he sets that tone. I hope you're going to have him on at some point.
Absolutely.
NFNLP, that community he has created and through certification attracts, like minds.
Exactly.
And I have yet to meet a person through NFNLP that I haven't connected with. Oy, oy, oy.
That's okay.
Live broadcasts, right?
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, quality people.
Oh, you're so sweet.
I know. I'm happy I met you, and I'd love to keep you close for the rest of your years.
Well, you're stuck with me now because
Yay.
I want the same. I want the same. Yeah.
Well, we've got one last question here that we wanted to ask you. If our listeners could walk away with one nugget of information or wisdom from today's conversation, what would you like for that to be?
Wow. One of the greatest minds ever was Winnie the Pooh. And I always encourage people to think that they should remember when they're feeling low that you are braver than you believe, stronger than you seem. I'm paraphrasing. And smarter than you think. But the most important part is that even when you feel alone, please know you are loved.
There you go. It's perfect.
Wise words.
Be you. No one else can be you but you. So let your light
We're
shine.
unique individuals. There's nobody like.
You're doing the world a disservice by not being you, because you're the only one that's there,
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
That's how God created us. So
Yep.
yeah. Oh, I love you both so much.
We love you
you're
so much.
sweet.
And thank you so much for coming on the show.
You have such a good spirit coming through the Zoom. It's unfortunate that it's not in person, but this is one of the ways that technology is helpful to us, because you're clear over there in Oregon and we're literally across, diagonally across the United States from each other. Couldn't get further apart in the United States almost, except for we're not in Southern Florida. But to be able to connect and have the same type of spirit and conversation and see your face, even though it's not face to face. I love listening to you and talking with you.
Mm-hmm. Yes, thank you so much.
Glad to have you on our podcast.
Yeah.
Oh, it's been such an honor, and I can't wait to see you in July, and big hugs then all around.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for more.
Yeah, well, I'll definitely have to have you back on the show. So,
well, thank you. And I will be watching you. I can't wait to start following your podcasts. And we put you on my website too. So
you did.
Hopefully, you'll have lots of, So
awesome.
Rise and shine. It's Hypno Time with Deana and
Suzanne.
I'm dialed in. Love you guys. Thank you. You're doing such great work.
Oh,
so
thank
are
you so much.
Glad we're in it together.
Mm-hmm.
Me too.
We'll see you later, sweetie.
All righty. You guys take care.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of the Rise and Shine It's Hypno Time podcast. If you found some value in this episode and enjoyed it, please consider liking, subscribing, and giving us a 5-star review. Most people may not know that interacting with our content and our channel helps us to continue the work we're doing and reach more people. And we just want to thank you again from the bottom of our hearts for being such a loyal listener. And don't forget to tune in next week and every Tuesday for the latest episode of the Rise and Shine It's Hypno Time podcast with Deana and Suzanne. See you next week.